For more than 20 years, the unsolved demise of hip-hop icon Notorious B.I.G. has been the subject of debate and conjecture. Biggie's mother, Voletta Wallace, has now spoken forward to share disturbing information regarding his son's passing. She recently accused music mogul Diddy of lying and planning to have Biggie slain in an interview. Might this be the key that unlocks the case's final solution? What part did he play in one of the greatest rappers of all time passing away? That's what we're going to find out in today's video and more. But of course, before any of that, make sure first that you subscribe to our channel and hit that notification bell for more updates and videos like this. Now, let's jump in. On the 20th anniversary of the passing of her only child Biggie Smalls, better known as Notorious B.I.G., Voletta Wallace, the matriarch of the hip-hop community, has made a groundbreaking statement. In an interview with the Daily Mail, she admits that she feels hurt every single day, realizing that she will never see her son again, and that his shooter is still at large. In her emotional statement, she said, "I have a very good idea who murdered Christopher. And I genuinely believe that the LAPD knows exactly who did too. They've done their investigation, but they just refuse to move forward. I don't know why they have been arrested, who was involved. It seems to me that it's one giant conspiracy and someone is definitely being protected somewhere down the line. There's no closure for me until that man is behind bars and sentenced." Fans are still hopeful in supporting Miss Wallace that someday she would be able to reopen this case. "I hope Miss Wallace builds the strength to reopen the case and get the justice she deserves," says one fan. Biggie's wife, Faith Evans, has made some similar claims. "Well, we know he was killed, but we believe that the LAPD knows who's responsible," she stated. Yet, Gene Deal, who served as Diddy's security in the 1990s, also has similar discoveries concerning the subject matter. Even though these accusations cannot be made in court, he claimed that his fraternity member set up Gene Deal's rendezvous with Miss Wallace. He continued by narrating that when Miss Wallace questioned Puffy about Gene, the latter quickly denied knowing him. Kirk Burroughs, a former executive at Bad Boy Records, has contributed to these allegations by saying that Biggie had plans to visit London for a meeting with journalists in Greece. He claimed he intended to stay in LA that awful night. So did he cancel the arrangement for Biggie? But that is not all. After Tupac's demise, Puffy had already planned for Biggie's demise, and he had no remorse about it. While speaking to The Art of Dialogue, Gene Deal was pressed about his involvement in one of the music's most notorious unsolved murders. Deal, who worked as Diddy's security in the 1990s, insisted Biggie wasn't killed in a drive-by, as many were made to believe. How does he claim to know? Because he witnessed the attack with his own eyes. "Before we left Andre Harrell's house, Puff told me I didn't have to go." Deal said, "Now, I went because I knew that somebody was going to die that night. Somebody was going to get shot. I did everything in my power to stop it from being Puff, and it wasn't Puff. The people that were bodyguarding Big didn't do everything in their power to stop it from being Big, and that hurts me, even though it wasn't my principle." Biggie was taken out in the early hours of March 9, 1997. After he left a Soul Train Awards after party. At around 12:45 a.m., a Chevy Impala imported pulled up next to Biggie's SUV and opened fire. The rapper was allegedly struck 4 times and was pronounced lifeless shortly after. Deal said that he rushed to Biggie's aid after the shooting and pulled him from the vehicle, as watched this kid lose his life. "I wouldn't put nobody in my shoes, 'cause I don't feel like they could handle it." He said, "If I didn't have God in my life, if I didn't have people praying for me, I don't know if I could have handled it." Deal said it's difficult for him to watch reenactments of Biggie's death in movies and TV shows, as the murder is inaccurately portrayed as a drive-by. "It just hurts because they lie too much," he continued. "A lot of that shit be lies, the way they put it together, 'cause they listening to these white boys who wasn't even there. I don't want to make this racial, but they take these white boys who wasn't even there and want to use the stories that they want to tell, which is not the truth. Wasn't a drive-by. The car was standing there at the corner. The stories they tell is not truthful, and now people are sitting here believing." This revelation of Gene Deal has convinced the fans that he was behind Biggie's untimely demise. He for sure put a hint on Pac and Biggie. Their deaths were way too similar, and Diddy knew he could take over Biggie's record label. Diddy is a joke, said one commenter, but that is not the worst of it. Biggie's mother was not told anything by the official accept. If you want to know what happened that night, asked Gene Deal, and when she asked Bad Boy about Gene, Puffy denied, seemingly following their agreement. But Puffy was playing the role as he was telling Gene's name to all the law enforcement. But as you know, he did not tell Biggie's mother, and the reason was he knew that I was going to tell Miss Wallace all what happened because he knew I exchanged, Gene said. Also, Gene shoved Diddy's arms away when he appeared to be grieving Biggie's passing, which made Gene immediately suspect of Diddy's role in the rapper's demise. Gene explains his last encounter with Diddy, saying when he grabbed both of my arms and said, "Gene, we got to pray, and then he pushed his arms away. This is not all though. The former members of Bad Boy indicated that Biggie did not want to attend the Vibe party, despite the fact that Gene did not re-catch up with Diddy. Gene was quite generous in sharing the specifics of Biggie's final moments and the things he considered questionable, but Puffy persuaded him to go. Gene was aware at the time that the party would be the ideal location for the planning of any hit on Biggie. Gene further disclosed that Diddy had made an advanced decision not to ride with the delicious rapper in order to be in a secure area. Well, fans agree with Gene's version of the story that unfortunate night. One commenter said, "Puffy did it, no doubt. Why did he leave Cali literally the day after it happened and ditch the rest of his crew? Why did he ride separately when he always used to ride with Big? Why was it so important for Gene to ride with Puffy? You either get it or you'll never work for Bad Boy again. Why was the car already parked on the side of the road waiting for Biggie to pull up? And why was it so damn important to be in Cali in the first place? 6 months after Pac's death, with barely any security, Puff got some explaining to do." The story is not done, though. To learn all that occurred that evening and how he was involved, Gene created a book. Also, he secured a publication deal for it. "My book was supposed to be gone, and all of a sudden, after giving me a contract for $75,000, cutting me a check of $25,000, we got down to the last week," Gene stated, in an effort to prevent Gene's book from being out. Puffy then contacts the same publishing house to create and publish his own book, and he charges $1 million for it. Even from the start, Biggie's mother had a bad feeling about Puffy associating with Biggie. She also writes in her book, Biggie, Voletta Wallace remembers her son Christopher about it. The truth is, Christopher accepted the illusion of a friend and mentor for about $25,000. That's the amount Puffy lured my son with. That was a lot of money for Christopher back then as a 19-year-old. He had never seen that much at one time in his life. It was enough money to make my son believe that Puffy was ready to do anything for him. It was enough to buy a blind love and loyalty, Voletta exposed in her memoir. That's all for today. We hope you enjoyed that video, and if you did, make sure you like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more videos like this.